Welcome to my winter wellness webinar. I'm Pauline Cox, functional nutritionist, author, and women's health expert. And I'm going to be covering a number of dietary, lifestyle, and supplemental strategies that'll get you thriving through winter into spring. Before we start, this webinar is intended as informational and is not meant for medical diagnostics or as medical advice. The choices we make on a daily basis as to what we eat are some of the most important decisions we make every day. Why? Because our diet impacts everything, our mood, our energy, our sleep. And it does so through a number of mechanisms. And as you can see here on the screen, this is a very simplified demonstration of how what we're eating impacts our gut and our gut microbiome. It also impacts our brain. Our brain impacts our cravings and what we're looking for, whether we're hungry or we're lacking a certain nutrient, and that's driving those cravings. The gut impacts inflammatory levels. Inflammatory levels impact the brain. And then these inflammatory levels, particularly if it's this low-grade systemic, like a tap, dripping all the time, impacts your energy, your sleep, your thyroid function, mood, hormones, aches and pains, tissue health. It breaks down your tissue if that low-grade inflammation is there for long periods of time, and your motivation. So by looking at what we're eating on a daily basis, but also the lifestyle habits that we're undertaking, this can have a really major impact on your inflammatory levels. And this little snapshot will show you, again, a selection of the symptoms that you might be experiencing if you have this chronic low-grade inflammation. Low motivation, low mood, poor sleep, anxiety, highly emotional, irritable, angry, persistent hunger, brain fog, fatigue, hot flushes, histamine issues, low libido, weight gain, low mood, hair loss, cold extremities. It goes on. And then in the bottom there, you'll see increased risk of chronic health issues. So I think we've established from this slide that we do not want this chronic low-grade inflammation. We want our immune system to be functioning in tip-top condition. Now, I've added this slide in on thyroid function because it's just such an important subject that we want to make sure that we get a great understanding of. Inflammation will negatively impact your thyroid function. Stress also does the same. So when we're eating a diet rich in iodine, selenium, magnesium, iron, and zinc, you're supporting your thyroid function. And your food choices will very much govern whether you're getting these nutrient-dense foods. If you're eating foods that are spiking your blood sugars and driving inflammation, then that's going to be also negatively impacting your thyroid. Then, as a result of the thyroid not functioning at its best, we can start to see weight gain, low mood, cold hands, hair loss, bowel changes, and that weight change where we generally start to gain weight because the thyroid isn't functioning at its best, that then can also drive inflammatory levels up. So what are we going to start looking at to really help our body to create balance and thrive through the winter months into spring and through the summer? We want to be thriving the whole year round. Diet. I think we've established that diet's pretty important. Stress, because stress will also drive chronic inflammation, muscle loss, bone loss, poor sleep. It really impacts our mental health. And of course, lifestyle. So these are the pillars of our health and well-being. So an anti-inflammatory diet. It's not easy in our modern lives to have this anti-inflammatory diet because we are just bombarded with convenience and pick-me foods. You smell them, you see them at the counter, you want them. Your brain's lighting up going ding, 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 give me that food. But the reality is these are often foods that are quite damaging and not particularly good for us. They're driving shifts in our gut microbiome, our blood sugar levels, and our inflammatory levels. So what are the foods we really want to be enjoying and encouraging in our diet? Cruciferous vegetables are wonderful. So your broccoli, cauliflower, radish. These are fantastic vegetables packed with nutritious fiber and some wonderful compounds that support your liver health and hormone detoxification. Brightly colored berries, bilberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackcurrants, blackberries. These are fantastic sources of vitamin C and fiber and antioxidants. And if you have space in your freezer, I love frozen berries. I always have them in my freezer. And I will take a handful and put it with some Greek yogurt and some seeds and nuts for a really delicious, nutritious meal or even a dessert. Leafy greens, a wonderful source of magnesium. And again, they have so many benefits, nutritious, rich in fiber, and something called potassium, which is wonderful for our energy levels. Healthy fats, high quality protein, fermented foods like your sauerkraut, your fermented beetroot, fermented red cabbage, white cabbage, kimchi. There are so many wonderful fermented foods available now, and fiber-rich foods. And we want to be minimizing the sugary foods, sadly, alcohol. Now, some of you might enjoy a drink. However, when we're looking at optimizing mood and sleep and energy, a glass of wine might sedate you at night, but it's certainly not helping you get that deep restorative sleep. So we're going to be looking at strategies to really support good sleep without having to turn to that glass of wine and ultra-processed foods. So here we have a little food cheat sheet. Who doesn't love a cheat sheet? Low mood and anxiety, oily fish. Now, these are not just great for the omega fatty acids that you're getting in those fish, sardines, mackerel, anchovies, haddock. They're also great in terms of their protein content. And I love tinned fish because it's just so convenient to have in your cupboard. Sardines are a really lovely staple to have in your cupboard that you might fancy having with some toast or having with some eggs. And they're just a really delicious way of enjoying oily fish. You're getting a lot of your omega-3 fatty acids, protein, calcium, and they're fantastic. So oily fish, eggs, chicken, meat for your quality protein, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, organic tofu. This is another really nice source of protein that you can use in all sorts of ways. Stick it in a smoothie, make a sauce out of it. But tofu is a great source of protein if you're not looking for an animal-based protein. Poor sleep. So foods to support sleep. Well, one of the things I really enjoyed making when I have time is bone broth. I cook meats in the slow cooker, stick some apple cider vinegar in to help draw out the goodness. I'll put onions, carrots, and that piece of meat, which is on the bone. All of the goodness is drawn out into that rich broth. And this is so, so good for you. Your gut, your joints, your skin, your hair. It's rich in protein, which are the building blocks our body needs. It's rich in electrolytes. It's rich in minerals, calcium, magnesium. Or you can cheat and you can have a powdered version in your cupboard. And look, you can have both. You can make bone broth on the weekends or whenever you have time. Or like I do, keep some in my cupboard, and then I'll add a scoop into pasta sauce for the kids. I'll make a drink out of this in the evening, just make a paste with hot water and then top it up with more hot water. That glycine, which is an amino acid found in bone broth, is wonderful for helping you get into a deep restorative sleep. Magnesium-rich foods. Again, magnesium is wonderful for supporting good sleep. Leafy greens, cacao powder, avocado, seeds and nuts. These are all wonderful sources of magnesium. And I love cacao, like cacao powder. This one here, just natural organic. It's a raw, organic cacao powder. It's very inexpensive. It's a very rich source of magnesium. Incidentally, it's also a rich source of copper. And copper's wonderful. We need copper in small amounts, but you'll find it naturally in cacao. And copper's really interesting because it helps to keep away grey hair. There you go. A fun fact for the day. So cacao is a wonderful source of magnesium and zinc-rich food. Zinc is needed to make your sleep hormone melatonin. So if you're low in zinc, you could be low in melatonin also. And seafood, pumpkin seeds, these are all rich sources of zinc. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you are likely to be deficient in zinc. it becomes more challenging to absorb zinc over the age of 40. So it's important to recognize some of the symptoms of zinc deficiency, which we'll talk a little bit more about when we're talking about supplements a bit later. Aches and pains. So again, when we're looking at food sources of these things to support aches and pains, turmeric. Turmeric is wonderful. It's very anti-inflammatory, and it also has some really great pain relieving properties. Now, I like a particular type of turmeric, and it's called Ayusha. It's a lacadong turmeric, and it comes from, you named it, lacadong. There it is. And lacadong turmeric is quite special because it has high levels of the compound that has all of the bioactive properties, and that's curcumin. So supermarket turmeric will have about 1, maybe 2% curcumin. Lacadong turmeric has 8% curcumin. So it's a really great way of getting higher curcumin values through getting still a food source product. And with this this turmeric, you can make a turmeric latte in the evening. You could add things like ginger powder to it, which the liver loves. Ginger's such a gorgeous spice to taste, but also for our body. And turmeric, ginger, you could put some cacao in there. You could add some collagen, which is rich in glycine, and that's again going to help you sleep. You could add some cinnamon in there. I mean, you can really make it personalized how you like it. You could even add some reishi mushroom, which is wonderful for sleep also, and make yourself like a nice evening latte made out of all of these delicious spices. Dry skin and dry hair. This is very common in the winter months. It's also common as we lose estrogen, as we start to age and go through that transition of perimenopause into menopause. So essential fatty acids, they're called essential because we have to get them in our diet, are very important for skin and hair. And so oily fish, again, is a great source of your essential fatty acids: golden linseed, chia seeds, walnuts, almonds, avocados, and avocado oil. Now, this is a great source of vitamin E, but it's also a great source of your healthy fats. So avocado oil is a really nice addition to your salad dressings. You can add it to your eggs or however you want to take it, or a whole avocado. Okay, omegas. So I mentioned a moment ago, omegas, essential fatty acids. Now, these are so important for your mood, especially as we Brits do not consume a lot of oily fish. About 70% of us consume no oily fish at all. And I kind of get that. There's a lot of fear around the pollutants in the ocean now and overfishing. And I have to admit, I don't eat a great deal of fish myself. But one thing I do is supplement my omega fatty acids, my essential fatty acids, because they are essential. They're so important for memory, mood, focus. They support our brain health. They support our heart health. They regulate inflammatory levels. They keep the skin nourished, the hair nourished and soft and shiny. They support sleep. They keep cravings at bay, because if you're low in essential fatty acids, then you just crave food. Not necessarily oily fish, but your brain will just say, keep eating. I don't have what I need yet, because it communicates with the gut. They're very important for building lean muscle mass and retaining muscle mass. So you can start to get a picture of how important these omega essential fatty acids really are. Now, you can get your essential fatty acids in a number of ways. You can see seeds and nuts in the corner, and that's a nice way of getting your plant-based ALA fatty acids. Now, these are great, but they are not the same as the intelligent fats that our brain needs, which is EPA and DHA. There's a lot of letters in this particular talk. So EPA and DHA are very important, and they're sort of further along the chain fats. Now, there is a particular oil that I take called ahiflower oil, and that's the richest source of a particular fat called SDA. Now, SDA is further up the chain towards the EPA and DHA, and it converts really well into those oily fish fats that we need, the EPA and the DHA. And this science is really coming to light now. How we used to think we can't get those important fats we need from plants. We have to have it from oily fish. And now we know that that's simply not the case, that our body converts well from this SDA this kind of middle chain fatty acid up to EPA. And then it also makes these DHA fats that our brain also requires. So I used to take fish oil. I was a huge fan of fish oil because I knew the importance of these essential fatty acids. But then when I found something that's British, regeneratively grown here exclusively in the UK, it's sustainable, so it's not impacting the oceans. It's 100% traceable. It's cold pressed. It's clay extracted, so no solvents. And it's just really one of my non-negotiables. So you can see here, comes in a liquid form. You only need half a teaspoon to fulfill your omega needs for the day. Children can take it. They can take a quarter of a teaspoon. From the age of 3, it's a wonderful supplement for children's brain health and sleep, IQ. Omega's essential fatty acids are very important for brain development. You can get it in a soft gel. The flavor of the oil is completely slightly nutty. It's a delicious flavor. There's no fishy burps or unpleasant aftertastes because it's a plant-based that has a really nice flavor to it. So, magnesium. I've already touched on the importance of magnesium, but it's so wonderful for sleep if you get it in the right compound. Magnesium oxide is poorly absorbed, and if you've tried magnesium before and gone, well, that didn't work, everyone says it's so wonderful, it did nothing for me, make sure you're taking the right compound. Magnesium biglycinate, 2-glycine, 1 magnesium. Remember earlier I said how wonderful glycine is for getting you into sleep, relaxing the body. Magnesium glycinate or biglycinate is very well absorbed by the body, and it helps to calm the nervous system. It increases a neurotransmitter in the body called GABA, which helps to relax and quieten down the chitter-chatter in the brain. It really helps our nervous system to unwind and relax. It's very important for supporting our blood sugar and our insulin sensitivity. When we're low in magnesium, it drives insulin resistance, which is essentially where the body doesn't tolerate carbs and high blood sugars as well. So we are more prone to insulin resistance as we transition through perimenopause. So I would argue that magnesium is even more important as you enter into your 40s. But really, lots of women and men, and sometimes even children, benefit from magnesium because we are constantly subjecting ourselves to stress, which depletes magnesium, inflammation, which depletes magnesium. Not as many magnesium-rich foods like greens, and when we are eating greens, they're not as rich in magnesium anymore because the soils are depleted. Medication like the oral contraceptive pill and HRT deplete you of magnesium. So it's really about getting that balance. I take 300 milligrams of this particular magnesium, which is a magnesium biglycinate, 2 glycines. It has a little bit of B6 in there as well to support the magnesium and the cellular levels. And, 300 is perfect for me. You might find that 100 or 200 works just nicely for you, and I take it immediately before bed. Other rich sources of magnesium include green leafy vegetables that we've mentioned. Sauteed helps to release the magnesium more readily. Nuts and seeds, avocados, dark chocolate, magnesium supplements such as a biglycinate. And zinc. We mentioned zinc earlier because of its importance in making the sleep hormone melatonin. It's also important for making protein. And when I talk about protein, I mean skin and hair and muscle. We need zinc for this particular job in the body. It makes our sleep hormone. It builds our DNA. Very important for your immune system. It works with the thymus, which is where a little gathering of immune cells called T cells mature. And these T cells are very important for immunosurveillance. They're looking out for rogue cells around the body. So if you're low in zinc, your thymus can shrink. It shrinks with age anyway, but it can prematurely shrink. Hormone balance, also skin. It's great for balancing the sebum, the oil that's produced in the skin. So if teenagers are eating lots of sugar and depleting themselves of magnesium, and they're not eating many, zinc, they're depleting themselves of zinc, and they're not eating many zinc-rich foods, then their skin can become problematic. And zinc can, when you supplement zinc, it can help restore the balance of the oil at the skin level. Your taste, hearing and eyes, your senses are really areas that become affected when you're low in zinc, and they need zinc to support your sensory system. Hair and nail growth, your hair follicles need zinc to remain healthy. Um, Thyroid function, mood, it's anti-inflammatory. It's also needed for the vitamin D receptors to function at their best. So vitamin D, really important this time of year. D3 with K2, particularly important for mood. But if you're low in magnesium, your body will struggle to activate that vitamin D. And if you're low in zinc, the receptors for the vitamin D won't function as well. So you can start to see these things all play a role. It's never just that one thing, but there's a little gathering that play these important functions in the body. Vitamin C. Big fan of vitamin C because it's really important for making collagen. And, as a woman who's perimenopausal and getting closer to 50 than I'm certainly not close to 40 anymore, making collagen can be more problematic as your estrogen levels drop. So I want to protect my collagen, and vitamin C helps that. It also has an effect on it has a genetic effect on the skin. So something called epigenetics. And vitamin C has been shown to really help switch on certain genes that keep the skin youthful, which is pretty cool. So we have immune function, really important for your immune system, making progesterone, which is the first sex hormone to start to decline as we enter perimenopause. And we want to keep that hormone up as long as we can because it's a calming sex hormone. It's really a lovely hormone to keep around. So vitamin C helps with that, particularly a liposomal vitamin C. It's a little bit higher than the sort of effervescent ones you're going to be getting. It's about 740 milligrams if you're getting the NutraSweet Fix. That's the one I take. You get 60 in a bottle, which is about 2 months supply. So it's a really nice, I take it every day, but for some people, like maybe every other day. But as I said, for someone of my age with my hormones, I like a daily liposomal C. Wonderful for protecting the brain. It's a really important defense for free radicals in the brain. Supports your mood through its actions on the brain, and it supports your adrenals. So when you're in a really chronically stressed state, going through a challenging time, going through an emotional relationship, going through a divorce or loss of a job or moving house or just life in general, then you deplete your body of vitamin C, because when you go through the stress cascade, you're losing vitamin C every time that stress cascade happens, which is why we can age when we go through a really stressful period because we're losing collagen. So vitamin C can help just restore, it supports adrenals when they've gone through a tough time. And food sources, sauerkraut's a wonderful sauce. Sea buckthorn, I like sea buckthorn. I have a special place in my heart for sea buckthorn. It is a wonderful source of vitamin C. It is also nature's richest source of omega-7. Now, omega-7 is great because it supports dryness, dry eyes, and internal dryness. So in the winter, when your eyes can get dry and itchy and watering a lot, the omega-7 you find in sea buckthorn is wonderful. It is very sour. Like, I'm talking knock your head off sour. If you have a shot of sea buckthorn, like 20 ml, it is super sour, but you can make a tonic out of it, apple cider vinegar, 20 ml of your sea buckthorn juice. You could put in maybe a little pomegranate seeds or something to make it really nice. But sea buckthorn is really a super, super product. And you can have it as a powder if you don't want it as a drink, which is equally, it's still a nice way of consuming it if you don't want to have it as a drink and you just want to add it to yogurts and smoothies and whatnot. And these are wild. This brand is called Arctic Berries. I believe that one's called, if you can't see it. So berries, frozen particularly, I love frozen berries because it's locking in a lot of the nutrition and locking in a lot of the vitamin C, rather than getting berries which are maybe out of season and not so rich in vitamin C because they've traveled some distance. And then vitamin C as a product. Let me bring that one back up. So vitamin C as a straight up product, you can see it here. So this is a liposomal C. As I mentioned, it's 740 milligrams. K-capsule, you get 60. And that's quite a nice one for people who are looking to support their vitamin C levels in all the ways I've mentioned. So lifestyle cheat sheet next. And a lot of these are free techniques. So I'm not suggesting you take them all on, but there may be one or two that resonate with you and you think, I could give that a go. That sounds like something that I can easily slip into my daily habits. So movement is the first one. Movement's so important for our energy, our mood, particularly if we're all getting outdoors in the morning, because a good night's sleep starts in the morning, getting morning light, setting your circadian rhythm. Even if it's a cloudy day, it still has such an incredible effect on communicating to your cells what time of day it is. And that helps set your hormones. So a morning light, but try and get out a few times in the day if you can. Morning tapping and energizing exercise. So I learned this technique from a fabulous lady called Lisa Pauley, Pauley, and she starts her morning with tapping. And all you do is you tap along, start the biceps, tapping all the way down the arms, other side, tap, 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 tap. And you're shifting energy. You're moving energy around the body. It just feels so nice to do this. You can go on the shoulders, tapping away. You can go down the torso. You can do the shoulders, the neck. Really, you're also moving lymph around. But Lisa teaches it in terms of the meridians. You could do your face, tapping away on your head, top of your head. And when you're doing this, standing up, and you're just tapping all the way down to your legs, through your torso, your arms, your face, top of your head. And you know what? By the end of it, you feel really energized. And you can do it while you're waiting for the kettle to boil, while you're waiting for your eggs to boil, maybe while you're waiting for your kids to come out of the school gate, do a bit of tapping, waiting in line at the post office, just tapping away. But I like to do it in the morning. I have been doing it in the morning because it is a really energizing way to get your body moving and flowing nicely for the day. The power of music. Now, when we sing, really energize our body. You're calming through the vagus nerve, but you're also just getting oxygen into your body. You're filling your lungs, and it's releasing this amazing feel-good hormones. The endorphins are flowing. If you listen to like very sad, melancholy music in the morning or throughout the day, where you're like, oh, I'm connecting to the song, it's making me feel so sad. Even if you feel sad, if you wake up with some really joyous or energizing music and you just like dance it out and sing it out, it is going to wake you up. Believe me, you're going to start feeling energized just through singing, moving, dancing around the kitchen while your kettle's boiling. You've done your tapping and now you're dancing. This is such a great way of energizing the body and just getting movement. Movement creates energy. When you're sluggish and tired, particularly in the morning, moving around and getting the energy flowing is such a great thing to do. And it's a habit, but believe me, it can really start to set you up for the rest of the day. Touch. Now, touch is such a great tool that we all have at our disposal. Hugging, petting, or smoothing your pets. Like dogs and cats love to be stroked. You see the way a cat will come up to you and like try and eke its way into your hand and like run its back and its head under your hand. It's seeking that sense of touch because it feels really good for the cat. And we humans are no different. In fact, we have this built-in self-soothing mechanism that's there for like since we're babies. And if you think for a moment, visualize soothing a baby. So you have a baby in your arms. Come on, do it with me. And you've got your baby, and now you're going to soothe that baby. You're just going to rub the baby's arm or the cheek. How do you do it? You do it in such a way that it's like a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's really a specific touch we use for babies. And that's instinctiveness. Because that touch, that slow, rhythmical, soft, not too hard, not too soft, but that instinctive way you would soothe a baby has a really soothing effect on our nervous system. So try it on yourself and see, because touch is powerful and breath work is also powerful. And you can tap into your nervous system very quickly. And there's an expert called Patrick McEwen who I'd highly recommend you check out on YouTube. He does all sorts of ways of calming, energizing, or using the power of breath. Sleep. Falling asleep, a cool room, really important. It really helps. Your body sleeps better in natural fibers in a cool room. A hot shower before bed, because this helps to lower our core body temperature. A black sleep mask. I don't go a single night without mine. I just find it so helpful. It blocks out any little cracks of light. Minimal blue light exposure. Laptops, iPhones. I mean, we all do it, don't we? But minimal if you can, and wear the blocking glasses, that can help also. Waking in the middle of the night, try not to scroll to your phone. There is a little technique that helps to tap into your nervous system that can really instantly calm your nervous system and help you fall back asleep. It's done with the eyes closed, but I'm going to do it with my eyes open so you can see what I'm doing. But even when you wake up in the night, do this with your eyes closed until you fall asleep. So my eyes are open, but pretend they're closed. So I'm looking up, I'm looking down. I'm looking from one side to the other. Then I'm doing a clockwise rotation and then an anti-clockwise rotation. And then I'm looking at my nose. And you just repeat that. And you keep repeating it till you fall asleep. See how it works for you. Connection. We like connection. Our bodies need connection. Our brains need connection to nature, to like-minded people, to ourselves. Connecting to yourself can be breathing, it can be self-touch, it can be walking in nature, having gratitude for the beauty around you. It can be a number of things, but just be aware of the next point of you being the gatekeeper, because we can also be surrounded by people who are not always positive in their influence, toxic relationships, it can be bad news, watching the news, reading the news, scrolling through the news. These are all things that are coming into the brain the whole time and just driving this fear and this repetition of questions and uncertainty. Be the gatekeeper. Watch what you're reading, you're listening to, you're watching, and allow what you want to go in, because that way you get to decide what you're seeing and hearing and watching. And we want uplifting and positive and reaffirming and things that feel good and not just all that negative news. And the bigger picture, because after winter comes spring, and it's the same in life. You know, sometimes we think that the best years are behind us, and that is a recipe for depression. We have to create a compelling future. Just like we want to be creating a compelling spring and compelling things throughout winter. Christmas is coming, or I'm going out to meet with a friend for coffee on Saturday, or I'm going to a paint class or a dance class, or having these things in the diary that create excitement and compelling. And, you know, when we're doing this for ourselves, you're allowing your brain to go, there's great things to come. It's not all bad. It's not all behind me. There's lots of good things to look forward to. And allow your brain to focus on that and the bigger picture. Okay, supplement cheat sheets. Low mood and anxiety, essential fatty acids. So we've definitely established that they're a must for this. And the regenerative omegas, as I've already mentioned, are my go-to. So not only do they affect your brain and your skin and your hair and your heart and your joints. I mean, I didn't even mention joints. They have this amazing compound within them. It's an anti-inflammatory cytokine called interleukin-10, if you will, the science. And that positively impacts your joints and your muscles. It helps with post-exercise soreness. So you get better recovery. It really helps to protect the tissues. And that, again, you get from this ahi flower oil that you find in regenerative omegas. But it also impacts your gut health. It increases the beneficial bacteria and it supports the integrity of the gut lining. So that, again, is helping with systemic inflammation. The beneficial bacteria are producing the compounds that go into the bloodstream and communicate with the brain. So it's just another avenue that this incredible oil is supporting your mood, your gut health, the inflammatory levels via the gut. Magnesium bilacate, magnesium complex, by Terranova. That's the particular magnesium I really like. You can get a magnesium citrate, but it can also upset the gut if you're taking it into higher level. So the glycinate's just lovely because, again, glycine is wonderful for the body. It helps increase your production of something called glutathione, which is your master antioxidant. It's great for your tissues in your body or joints. So for me, it's a really nice choice of magnesium. Anxiety, L-theanine can be helpful. And it can really help calm if you're feeling jittery in the daytime or in the nighttime. It can be taken with magnesium. And then a D3K2, which is really great for the winter. When I say great, kind of a non-negotiable. We just don't get the sunshine that we need in the UK. And if you're not taking D3, you can definitely feel low in your mood. You can get hair loss. You can start to experience low back pain, aches, thigh pain, hip pain. So a D3 paired with K2 helps to direct calcium, because D3 helps to increase calcium absorption. K2 tells the calcium where to go. So they kind of work as a bit of a trio. And that's always nice when they're working together. Incidentally, the richest source of K2, food-wise, there's a product called Nato, which I've never tried. It's like a fermented vegetable product. But Roquefort, Munster, these fermented cheeses are also good sources of K2. Poor sleep, essential fatty acids, again, important for sleep and for teenagers who, again, get even less oily fish. So really make sure they're getting their omega-3s, their essential fatty acids. Magnesium, great for sleep. Zinc, if you're low in melatonin, which we've already established. Ashwagandha can be helpful too. It can help to blunt cortisol. So if your cortisol's low in the morning, you can feel really sluggish and tired, and then it can go high at night, and then you're wired and can't switch off. And we want it the other way around. We want a peak of cortisol in the morning and for it to go down throughout the day. And this dysregulated cortisol can happen when we're chronically stressed. And doing a lot of what I've been talking about in this webinar can help to start to shift that back to high in the morning and low in the evening. Reishi can be really helpful as well for anyone experiencing real sleep issues. And bone broth, as I've mentioned. Aches and pains. I've mentioned how regenerative omegas has that interleukin 10 and can be very supportive for the joints and the muscles. Again, magnesium is great for relaxing. So when you've got tense, crampy muscles, cramping is a sign of a magnesium deficiency. But when you've got tense muscles, magnesium can just help them to relax. Magnesium's like a relaxer of the nervous system, of the muscles. And turmeric can be great for aches and pains as well, as I've already mentioned, and D3K2. Low energy, vitamin B or B complex. So you can take nutritional yeast for this, or you can take a liposomal B complex. Creatine is also great for energy, and creatine we find in meat. So the body can make creatine, but as women, we don't store it as well. And you need to eat 1 kilogram of beef to get 5 grams of creatine. So I definitely supplement creatine now, particularly as I'm in my 40s, because it just helps. I find my brain energy enjoys the creatine and bone broth, which is great because it's packed with protein. So 2 tablespoons of that bone broth that I showed you earlier gives you, I think off the top of my head, it's 15.5 grams of protein, which is a significant amount when you're just having it as a drink. And essential fatty acids are great, again, for low energy because your brain needs it. It fires on them. You know, if you're low in essential fatty acids, you can get brain fog and poor focus, and your brain's just like, I need these fats. So giving your brain those essential fatty acids is really great. And the creatine I use is this one. So you can see on that it says Creavitalis. That's a nice trademark to look out for because that tells you that it's German made. There's a lot of creatine on the market at the moment. It's definitely having its moment. But it's a lot of Chinese made creatine, and traceability is not quite so easy when you're getting something from China. Whereas this brand, using this trademark, as I said, Creavitalis is a trademarked creatine that you know comes from Germany. Okay. And that is back to the beginning, and we are at the end of our webinar. So I really hope you have found that helpful. And remember, you don't have to do everything in the cheat sheets. Pick something dietary wise. If you're really looking for a supplement to make a big difference, omegas and magnesium are just wonderful. In the winter, you want D3 as well. Ideally paired with K2. However, don't feel like you have to change everything at once. Small steps make a big difference when they're done consistently. So just pick a few things tonight that resonated with you, that you feel like, wow, that's going to move the needle a lot for me. Like an omega fatty acid is going to help with so many areas, and a magnesium is going to help me too. And maybe a morning walk and doing some tapping or singing more, or just getting more movement because I'm feeling tired. So because I'm feeling tired, I need more movement. Pick what resonated with you. Don't get overwhelmed. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and look out for the next video that will be coming. And if you have any content that you'd like to learn more about, pop that in the comments as well, and I'll come back and see all of your suggestions. I'm Pauline Cox. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for listening.